Hello everyone, Mr. Van Dzura here, and in this video we'll be going over our rhythm composition worksheet for 3rd to 5th grade students. This is your week 9 assignment. So as you look at your worksheet, you'll see at the top there's a key as well as some notes about time signature. Your key gives you 4 different notes and their values. We have a whole note, which is equal to 4 beats, a half note, which is equal to 2 beats, a quarter note, which is equal to 1 beat, and a set of beamed eighth notes, which is also equal to 1 beat. These are the only notes that you'll need today. And we've gone over some rests before, we've gone over some other notes, but these are the only 4 you need to worry about today. And it's very important that you remember or you look back to the key so you know each of their values. So again, the whole note equals 4, the half note equals 2, and the quarter and beamed eighth both equal 1. The reason we need to remember the number of beats for each note is because that will factor in when we know our time signature. So with our time signature, we have 2 numbers stacked on top of each other. Today, there's always going to be a 4 on the bottom. If you look ahead in your worksheet, you see 2, 4, 4, 4, 5, 4, 3, 4, and 6, 4, having a 4 always on the bottom. That just tells us what we already know, that the quarter note equals 1 beat. What's more important about our time signature is that top number. This is because that top number tells you the number of beats you're going to put in each measure. You might be asking, what do you mean by that? Well, let's look at our example. In our example here, we have a measure in 4/4, we have 2 measures in 4/4. We know that bottom number means that this key is correct, or that the quarter note equals 1 beat, but that top number is going to tell us how many beats are in the measure. Here, the top number is 4, so that means that there are 4 beats in each measure. Now, I've done the first measure for you in this example. We have a quarter note, which is equal to 1 beat, another quarter note, which is equal to 1, a beamed eighth, which is equal to 1, and finally another quarter note, which is equal to 1. Now, when you put the notes in your measure, you want to make sure you add them up. So I'm going to put plus signs here, so I add all of these up. And I end up with 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which brings me to 4. And because I have 4 beats in this measure, I know that it's complete because I was looking to put 4 beats in that measure. That's all you're going to be doing today in this worksheet, is whatever that top number is, that's how many beats you're going to put in your measure. So let's start by doing this example. When you go to your worksheet in the next step, all I want you to do is make sure that you put 4 beats in this second measure of the example here. And that'll let you practice for the next examples. So when you go forward after that first example, you've got a line of 2/4, which means that there'll be 2 beats in each of these measures. A line of 4/4, which means there'll be 4 beats in each of these measures. 5/4, so each measure is with 5 beats. 3/4, so each measure is worth 3 beats. And finally, a line of 6/4, so each measure here is worth 6 beats. So for example, in the first one, we have a 2/4 time signature, which means that there are going to be 2 beats in each of these measures. So as you go through, you want there to be 2 beats in the first measure, 2 beats in the second measure, 2 beats in the third measure, and 2 beats in the fourth measure. Now, what I'm going to ask you is in each of these 4 measures, you should have a different rhythm. Here's what I mean by that. I need something with 2 beats in this first measure. So I'm just going to choose my note that's worth 2 beats, and that's my half note. When I put my half note in here, that already equals 2, so this measure is complete. Now, because I use this rhythm in this measure, I can't use it in measures 2, 3, or 4. So that means that I can't use my half note anymore. So in the second measure, I could use my quarter and eighth notes together, because that's 1 plus 1, or I could switch the order and do eighth plus quarter, or I could do 2 quarters, or I could do 2 beamed eighths. But whatever I do, I can't repeat the same one. So I could then put a quarter note here and an eighth note, like I said, because that's 1 plus 1, which gets me to 2. But now that I have quarter followed by eighths, I can't do that in the third or fourth measure. I could change the order and do eighths followed by quarter, but I don't want to have the same rhythm in any 4 of the measures. So In each example, you need to make sure that you have 4 different rhythms as you go through. That's the same thing when you use 4/4, 5/4, 3/4, or 6/4. So your directions for the rest of this worksheet are just take note of how many beats you need in each measure. So the second one, each one will be worth 4 beats. And then using your key, figure out 4 different ways to get to that many beats. So in the second line, I'm finding 4 different ways to get to 4 beats. In the third line, I'm figuring out 4 different ways to get to 5 beats, and the same thing for the 3/4 and 6/4. I realize this video might be a little confusing, so feel free to go back and review anything that you may need. And also, you can send me an email or a chat at any time to answer, so I can answer any questions that you might have. All right, that covers all of the instructions that you need for your rhythm composition worksheet. As I mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And you can now move on to step 3, which is to complete your worksheet. Have a great week, everyone.